Alrighty, what's up guys? Back with another video. This one's sort of unscripted because I wanted to talk you through my experience with these handcrafted Air Jordan 1s. If you check out a video like this or this, I'm picking up a ton of sneakers all the time, and in lieu of that, I am actually wearing them. So this is a pair that I've worn a lot over the last 4 weeks. So you could consider this sort of like a post-mortem because I'm gonna retire these, probably put them up for sale. There is a market for used sneakers, which is a whole different topic in itself. But I did want to highlight sort of my experience with them, just because I don't think a lot of content creators on YouTube are doing something similar. It's sort of like they get the shoe in, review it, and then move on to the next one, which is certainly something I'm doing as well. But in a case like this, I definitely went through the wear test, wore these a lot, and I figured I'd highlight them a little bit. Just to start, I'll include some text here that go over release information. But as far as the box goes, it's like this multicolor encompassing all of the colors that are on the sneaker. They're an Air Jordan 1 Retro High OG in a colorway of black and Archaeo brown. Retail price was $170, and they're often dubbed as the handcrafted. These are pretty inexpensive relative to retail, considering that these came out a few months ago now. They aren't far above retail price on the resale market, which is nice. That was a mouthful there. But inside the box is just a generic box paper. These were actually the original laces. It's like this dual color black and orange lace, and then they also come with a set of solid black laces. I opted for these off-white laces, which I personally think look the best. All of that housekeeping out of the way, I can confirm that these have been worn a lot. So I un-DS'd these, or wore them in casual terms, on a recent trip to San Francisco. I was out there for work, and I'm not gonna dig too deep into my personal life, but given the industry I work in, it's not very suit and tie, it's very progressive or casual in terms of dress. So I thought this was the perfect candidate to run around town and meet folks in, just because of the neutral sort of colors that they bring. So back heel is sort of like a Bordeaux color, similar to like on the Bordeaux Air Jordan 1s. Up here is like a mocha, similar to like the mocha Air Jordan 1s. You get a nice hit of like a forest green here up the eye stay, more of that brown around the toe. And then outside of that is just like a cream, right? So you get cream leather panels at the toe box, the mid panels, the midsole. And I think these laces complement the sneaker the best. Inside the sneaker is like this sort of black quilted fabric, which is pretty nice. It's a stark difference than the typical mesh that you find. Same thing goes for the footbed as well. It's that same sort of quilted pattern. And then just moving back outside is your typical black rubber outsole. So I guess the first thing I wanted to address here is the leather quality. Obviously, being at the toe, this is gonna see the most wear when you bend your foot. On the surface, they look pretty decent. If you look at the way that the leather creases here, to me it's very, not cheap, but it goes beyond the finish. And what I mean is, a lot of sneaker reviewers say that leather quality on these is pretty decent, but to me it's really just the finish that makes it seem like it's good quality. At the end of the day, Nike and Jordan brand aren't pushing out top quality leather. Not that I'm critical of sneaker creasing, because you know sneakers are meant to be worn, but the point I'm trying to make here is at a $170 price point, personally I would have expected a little bit better. I think the moral of what I'm trying to say here is that the leather finish is nice, but when it comes to wearing it, you could sort of see flaws in what's going on. Also, on the topic of the leather creasing, you can see that some of the suede here has creased inward. Sort of this toe cap sort of flexes along with the leather, and if your foot isn't all the way up, you could sort of see the creasing there. On the topic of quality as well, I'd say this suede is pretty okay. It's decent. You know, you do get some color change depending on what panels you're looking at, which isn't always the definition of good suede. If I had to guess, it's a synthetic suede, much like the leather. It holds up pretty well. I think the one thing is the staining. So you can see the brown here. A lot of color has transferred onto the midsole, as well as actually the laces as well. There are definitely some brown stains here. I didn't wear these at any rain at all, but I have worn them to a few bars where, you know, drinks are being spilled, so you can definitely see some splatter marks and stuff. But I think a good example is when you're walking, you'll get some suede sort of kick back on the midsoles, as well as, like, you know, when you're resting your feet, say, under a desk. I'm definitely culprit of that, of resting sort of the midsole onto the suede. And I think a lot of that dye transferred over. But outside of that, I mean, I'm pretty pleased with it. Since I mentioned all that staining, as far as cleaning these sneakers go, the leather should be no problem as far as getting it wet. The one big sort of issue or trouble that I see is given that this fabric of this synthetic suede dyes very easily. I would be hesitant to scrub any sort of hard water materials, again, like a Jason Marker and Angelus, on the sneaker. I think it would serve better if I took like some sort of wet rag and just tapped it versus something like a brush and getting really abrasive with it. I mentioned I'm gonna list these up for sale pre-owned, and I think part of sort of resale value goes is selling clean shoes. So I'm gonna try to clean these stains off of the sneaker. I don't think they'll come out as easily as I think they will, but we'll give it a shot with sort of a abrasive brush and some dish soap or something. And then obviously I guess it's worth noting the wearability of them. So styling wise, it's not a sneaker for everyone, just given sort of the patchwork or like the different colors. I think these are sort of in the same bucket as like an Adidas Stan Smith or like a Superstar, where you could sort of wear them with anything. That's just my personal opinion. That's the way I style them. I know I'll have an on-foot clip, which you can't really see the fit, but that's something that I'd wear as like something like this sweater, regular pants, and then let these sneakers do the talking. The best way to close out here is comfort. These are not comfortable at all. If you are familiar with Jordan 1s and actually wear them, after a certain point of time, they just kill your feet. Part of it is just sort of this flat sort of sole and footbed that these lie on. So they're called Air Jordan 1s because they do have Nike Air technology, but to the traditional consumer, you wouldn't feel it. There's a stark difference between these Jordan 1s and something like a New Balance Made in USA 992, and that those are comfort focused, while these are more focused for lifestyle, traditional casual wear. I've worn a lot of Jordan 1s in my day. For example, the women's Court Purple pair that released back in 2021, I wore those on a week trip to Disney or Orlando, between Disney and Universal Studios, and my feet killed me. You'd think I'd learned my lesson after that. The same went for these, right? I was running around town in San Francisco and my feet were killing me by the end of the day. So don't rely on these being sort of pinnacle sneaker technology, but you know, for casual wear, it's like a Converse All-Star. Like I mentioned before, like a Stan Smith as well. These aren't pinnacle comfort, rather more lifestyle, everyday looking wear. But yeah, that pretty much sums up my experience with these. Fortunately, I have a pair on ice, meaning I have a backup pair that's brand new, so I don't really need to wear these down any further. I might as well move them, make some room in the collection, recoup some money. But the whole point of this video is just to sort of go over my experience, consider it literally like a video log of my experience with these. If this is content that you're interested in, let me know, drop a like down below, let me know in the comment section. I know it's unlike my traditional sneaker videos. Also be sure to follow me on social at Stuff Dylan Likes. I'm posting pictures like this way before this video content comes out. But I just mentioned that I'm selling a lot in the collection. I'm one person, I have a ton of sneakers in the stack, so I'm looking to move a bunch of stuff. I'll have my eBay page linked down below if you're interested in picking something up for me. Outside of that, I appreciate the viewership as always, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.